My family demanded I give my $950,000 apartment to my brother while his wife was already measuring my bedroom curtains. Not asking, not pleading, not sitting down like decent people who understood the weight of what they were about to request. Demanding. My name is Naomi Bennett. I was 36 years old when I came home from a business trip, rolled my suitcase into the lobby of my apartment building, and found my mother standing beside the elevator with a spare key in her hand. The key was mine, or at least, it used to be. I had given it to her 2 years earlier when she had surgery and needed a place to rest between hospital appointments. I gave it to her because I trusted her, because she was my mother. Because even after everything, some part of me still believed a mother would know the difference between access and ownership. I was wrong. "Naomi," she said, smiling too quickly, "you're back early." I looked at the key in her hand. "No, I'm back exactly when I said I would be." Her smile trembled. Behind her, my father stood with his arms crossed, wearing the same serious face he used whenever the family had already reached a decision and needed me to stop having opinions. And beside him was my brother Marcus. Marcus had one hand in his pocket, one foot resting on his suitcase, and the relaxed confidence of a man waiting to be handed something he did not earn. My stomach tightened. "Why are you all here?" My mother touched my arm. I moved back before her fingers settled. That one step made her face change. "Baby, don't be like that." "Like what?" "Cold." I almost laughed. In my family, cold meant I had asked a question before obeying. I looked at Marcus's suitcase, then another suitcase near the wall, then a small box of children's toys sitting by the lobby chair. My throat went dry. "Where is Tasha?" My brother smiled. "Upstairs." "In my apartment?" He spread his hands like this was obvious. "Where else?" For a second, the lobby disappeared around me. The marble floor, the glass doors, the security desk, the fresh flowers beside the concierge, the hum of the elevator. All of it faded under one thought. They were inside my home. My $950,000 apartment was not a palace, but it was mine. 27th floor, 2 bedrooms, a small study, floor-to-ceiling windows facing the city, a balcony where I drank tea before sunrise, a kitchen I designed in warm cream and walnut wood, a bedroom that had taken me years to make feel safe after my divorce. It was the first place I owned with no husband, no family cosigner, no borrowed money, no emotional strings, no room where someone else's name sat quietly behind mine. I bought it after 12 years of working, saving, refusing to quit, and finally becoming a partner at Bennett ClearPath Solutions. It was my shelter, my proof, my breath, and my family had walked into it without me. I turned toward the elevator. My father stepped slightly in front of me. "We need to talk first." That old sentence, "We need to talk," it always meant they needed me calm before showing me the knife. "Move." My father's eyebrows rose. "Naomi." "Move, Dad." The concierge, Mr. Ellis, looked up from the desk but said nothing. He had worked in the building long enough to know when silence was safer than politeness. My father did not move. Instead, he lowered his voice. "Marcus and Tasha are in a difficult situation." I closed my eyes. There it was, the weather report of my family. Marcus was always in a difficult situation. Sometimes he lost a job. Sometimes a business failed. Sometimes rent was late. Sometimes Tasha was tired. Sometimes the children needed school money. Sometimes he had a new opportunity that required everybody else's sacrifice. This time, apparently, the opportunity was my home. "What happened?" I asked. My mother answered quickly. "Their landlord is selling the house." Marcus added, "And the new rent prices are insane. So find another place." My mother gasped softly, like I had suggested leaving children in a storm. "Naomi." "What?" "They need stability." I looked at Marcus. Then he should become stable. His face hardened. My father stepped closer. "Your brother has a family, and I have a home. You have an apartment. You have an apartment." I stared at him. The difference in his voice told me everything. Marcus had a family. I had an apartment. Not a life. Not a household. Not a future. Not dignity. An apartment. A thing. A resource. Something that could be reassigned because I was one woman living behind one door. My mother said, "Baby, no one is saying you don't matter." "Then stop planning like I don't." She looked away. That was when I knew the plan was bigger than a conversation. I pushed past my father and stepped into the elevator. They followed. Of course they did. The ride to the 27th floor felt like a courtroom without chairs. My mother sniffed quietly. My father stared straight ahead. Marcus checked his phone. I watched the floor numbers rise and felt anger settle into something colder. 22, 23, 24. My mother whispered, "Please don't embarrass us." The elevator reached 27. The doors opened. I walked down the hallway and stopped at my apartment door. It was open. Open. Not unlocked. Open. Like my home was a showroom. Like my privacy had already been voted out. Inside, I heard Tasha's voice. "The study can become Caleb's room if we put a bunk bed here. Maya can take the second bedroom. Marcus and I can use Naomi's room because it has the bathroom attached." My hand tightened around my suitcase handle. My mother whispered, "Naomi, breathe." I stepped inside. Tasha stood in my study holding a measuring tape. On my couch sat 2 moving boxes. My throw blanket was on the floor. My dining table was covered with fabric samples, school bags, and a folder. My balcony door was open. A child's backpack sat beside my favorite reading chair. My bedroom door was open too. That door was never open when guests came. Never. Tasha turned and froze. "Oh," she said, "you're home." I looked at the measuring tape, then at the boxes, then at the folder on the table. My voice came out calm. Too calm. "What are you doing?" Marcus walked in behind me. "Tasha is just checking layout options." "Layout options for what?" He sighed. "For when we move in." The room went silent. I turned slowly. "When you what?" My mother rushed forward. "Baby, let's sit first." "No." My father closed the front door. That made me look at him. He held up both hands. "To keep this private." I walked to the door and opened it again. "No. Doors stay open when people try to steal homes." Marcus laughed under his breath. "There you go. Always making yourself a victim." I looked at him. "You are standing in my apartment with boxes. Because we need somewhere to stay. Then book a hotel." My mother cried instantly. Not slowly. Not from surprise. Instantly. That kind of crying did not come from pain. It came from habit. "Naomi, please," she said. "Your brother's children cannot live in a hotel." "They are not living here either." Tasha's eyes widened. "Naomi." I turned to her. "You were measuring my bedroom." She swallowed. "We thought." "You thought what?" She looked at Marcus. He answered for her. "We thought you'd understand. It's not forever. Temporary. The family drug." I said, "How long?" Marcus shrugged. 6 months, maybe a year. A year. Until we get back on our feet. You have been getting back on your feet since 2014. His face flushed. My father's voice grew sharp. "That is unnecessary." "No. Measuring my bedroom is unnecessary." My mother moved closer, tears slipping down her face. "Baby, you can stay with us for a while." I stared at her. "Excuse me?" "At the house. Your old room is still there. My old room is your storage room. I can clear it." I laughed. I could not stop it. Not loud, just a small, stunned laugh. "You want me to leave the apartment I bought so Marcus can move in with his family, while I go sleep in my childhood storage room?" My mother flinched. "When you say it like that, it sounds accurate." She looked down. My father said, "Naomi, you have more options than Marcus." "No, Marcus has had more rescues than me. He has children, and I have boundaries." Marcus threw the measuring tape onto the table. "Oh, please, you act like this place is some sacred temple. It's 2 bedrooms in the city. I looked around the apartment. The framed artwork I bought after my first big contract. The plants I kept alive through bad seasons. The reading chair I saved for. The kitchen tiles I chose myself. The balcony where I had cried after my divorce and promised never to live under someone else's shadow again. Yes, I said softly. It is sacred to me. Marcus rolled his eyes. My mother whispered, "You are one person, Naomi." There it was. The sentence beneath everything. One person. As if one person could not need peace. As if one woman could not deserve space. As if my apartment was wasted because no husband's shoes sat by the door and no child's toys filled the hallway. I looked at her, and I am enough to own what I bought. My father's face hardened. This attitude is exactly why we had to make arrangements before you came home. I turned. What arrangements? He looked toward the folder on the table. My stomach dropped. Tasha stepped back. Marcus smiled slightly. Not a big smile. A small one. The kind that said the trap was already placed. I walked to the table and opened the folder. Inside was a document titled Family Residential Support Agreement. My hands went cold. It stated that I, Naomi Bennett, had voluntarily agreed to allow Marcus Bennett and his immediate family to occupy my apartment for a minimum of 12 months due to family hardship. Minimum. Not temporary. Minimum. It said I would relocate temporarily to my parents' home or alternate housing. It said Marcus would contribute toward utilities when able. When able. It said no formal rent would be charged during the family recovery period. It said access had already been granted through a family key holder, my mother, and at the bottom was a signature line, blank, waiting for me. My father said, "It's not complicated, you sign." We all calmed down. I stared at the document, then at him. "You drafted this before asking me?" "It is a support agreement. It is a lease without rent." Marcus said, "It's family." "It is theft with nicer spacing." My mother sobbed. "Naomi, please," Tasha whispered. "Maybe we should go." Marcus snapped, "Tasha." She looked down. I closed the folder, then did something none of them expected. I smiled. Not warmly, not happily, but calmly. My father frowned. "What is that look?" I picked up the folder, walked to the kitchen counter, and placed it beside my purse. Then I pulled out my phone. Marcus narrowed his eyes. "Who are you calling?" "Vivian." My mother gasped. "Your lawyer?" "Naomi, don't bring lawyers into family." I looked at her. "You brought contracts into my living room." My father stepped toward me. "Put the phone down." I looked him straight in the eye. "No." The word landed hard. Not loud, not dramatic, but something in the room shifted. The old Naomi would have cried. The old Naomi would have tried to explain. The old Naomi would have asked everyone to please understand that this was her home. But that woman had spent too many years begging people to respect what they already knew. I pressed call. Vivian Hart answered on the second ring. "Naomi, my family is in my apartment with boxes and a residential support agreement demanding I give it to Marcus for at least 12 months. There was silence. Then Vivian said, "Do not sign anything." "I won't." "Is the door open?" "Yes." "Good. Keep it open." "Is anyone blocking you?" My father looked away. "No." "Put me on speaker." I did. Vivian's voice filled the apartment. "This is Vivian Hart, Naomi's attorney. Everyone currently inside the apartment should understand that Naomi Bennett has not consented to occupancy, transfer, lease, storage, relocation, or any family residential support arrangement. All belongings brought into the unit must be removed immediately." Marcus laughed. "Lady, you don't scare us." Vivian replied calmly. "Fear is not required. Compliance is." Grace would have loved that. My mother cried, "This is still family." Vivian said, "Then family should have asked before moving boxes." My father took a breath. "Counselor, perhaps you do not understand our situation." "I understand enough." You are standing inside a private apartment owned by my client, attempting to pressure her to sign occupancy rights under emotional distress. That ends now. The room went still. Marcus said, "Naomi, this is ridiculous." "No," I said. "Ridiculous was thinking I would move into a storage room so you could enjoy my city view." His face twisted. "You think you're better than us." "I think I'm the owner." My mother whispered, "Baby, your response is shocking me." I looked at her. "No, Mom, my response is teaching you. Before I continue, tell me where you are watching from tonight. And if your family has ever called your home empty because they wanted to fill it with someone else's life, stay with this story. Because they thought I would cry, sign, and surrender. They had no idea my answer would not only remove them from my apartment, it would remove them from my wallet too. The first thing Vivian told me was simple. Record the condition of the apartment. So I did. I walked through every room with my phone camera open. The boxes on my couch. The measuring tape on my dining table. The folder on the counter. The backpack beside my reading chair. The open balcony door. The towels Tasha had taken from my linen closet. The suitcase Marcus left near the hallway. My bedroom door standing open. When I reached my bedroom, I stopped. My mother had followed me to the doorway. "Naomi," she said softly, "please don't make this ugly." I looked at my bed. The pillows had been moved. My closet door was open. One of Tasha's scarves sat across the chair near the window. My private space had been touched. Entered. Considered. Assigned. I turned to my mother. "You made it ugly when you let them enter my bedroom." She flinched. "I didn't think." "No, you did think. You thought I would be easier to move than Marcus." Her face broke. But I did not soften. That was new. Painful, but new. In the living room, Marcus was on the phone with someone, speaking low and angry. My father stood by the window, looking out over the city like he was trying to borrow authority from the view. Tasha was quietly packing the children's toys back into a bag. I watched her. "You knew this was wrong." She froze. You knew." Her eyes filled. "Yes." Marcus turned. "Tasha." She looked at him, tired. "No, Marcus. She's right. I told you we should wait." He pointed toward me. "And let her say no," Tasha whispered. "That would have been her right." The room went quiet. Marcus stared at his wife like she had betrayed him. I saw something then. Tasha was not innocent. She had entered my home. She had measured my rooms. She had imagined her children sleeping where I worked and rested. But she was also tired. Tired of Marcus's pressure. Tired of unstable plans. Tired of being pulled into schemes and told it was survival. Still, tired did not erase wrong. I said, "Thank you for telling the truth. Now keep packing." She nodded. My mother started crying harder. My father turned from the window. "Naomi, stop humiliating everyone." I laughed softly. "You held a moving rehearsal in my apartment." Humiliation came with the boxes. Vivian, still on speaker, said, "Naomi, building security is coming up. I recommend everyone cooperate." Marcus snapped, "You called security?" I looked at him. "Yes. For your own family?" "For unauthorized occupants." He stepped closer. My father said, "Marcus." For once, his warning was directed at the right child. Marcus stopped, breathing hard. There was a knock on the open door. Mr. Ellis from building security stood there with another guard. His face was professional, but his eyes were kind. "Ms. Bennett, you requested assistance?" "Yes. These visitors are leaving." My mother covered her mouth. "Visitors?" I looked at her. What else should I call people I did not invite to live here? Mr. Ellis stepped inside. "Everyone, please gather your belongings." Marcus glared at him. "She's my sister." Mr. Ellis nodded. "And she is the resident owner." That sentence went through me like medicine. The resident owner. Simple, clean, true. No family drama, no birth order, no tears, no guilt. Owner. Marcus picked up his suitcase so violently one wheel hit the table leg. Tasha carried the toys. My mother reached for the grocery bag she had brought. I had not even noticed it until then. She had put food in my refrigerator. That almost made me laugh again. She had already started domesticating the theft. My father picked up the folder. I stopped him. That stays. His face darkened. It is our document. It was presented to me in my home. Vivian will review it, Marcus said. You're insane. Vivian's voice came from the phone. Marcus, keep talking. I bill by the incident. Grace would have clapped. My father let the folder go. One by one, they moved toward the door. My mother paused near me. Naomi, please, where are they supposed to go tonight? I looked at Marcus. Where were they supposed to sleep before you decided my apartment was available? She had no answer. I stepped back. Good night, Mom. Her face crumpled. They left. The elevator doors closed on Marcus's angry face, my father's disappointment, my mother's tears, Tasha's shame, and the bags they had hoped would become roots. My apartment became quiet. Too quiet. I closed the door, locked it, then locked it again. The second lock made me cry. I slid down the wall in the hallway and sobbed. Not because I doubted my answer. Because sometimes protecting yourself from people you love feels like pulling your own heart out of their hands. Vivian stayed on the phone until Grace arrived. Grace came with takeout, tea, and enough rage to power the building. She walked in, looked at the box's dust marks on my couch, and said, "Absolutely not." Then she hugged me. Hard. No jokes. Just arms. After I stopped crying, she picked up the family agreement and read it with Vivian on video. By the second page, Grace's eyes were burning. They wanted 12 months minimum? Yes. Utilities when able? Yes. No rent? Yes. You relocate? Yes. She closed the folder. Naomi, this is not a request. This is a takeover wearing your mother's tears. Vivian nodded through the screen. There is more. This language about family reliance and hardship could have been used later to pressure continued occupancy. It is poorly drafted, but dangerous emotionally and messy legally if signed. I looked at the folder. My apartment felt different now. Not ruined, but disturbed. Like someone had walked through my mind with dirty shoes. How did they even think this would work? I whispered. Grace sat across from me. Because it has worked before. I looked up. She did not soften. You pay, you adjust, you calm everyone, you make space, you explain yourself for hours, you help Marcus after he fails, you comfort your mother after she pressures you, you accept your father's disappointment like a tax. Her words hurt. Because they were true. Vivian added, tonight worked because you changed the pattern before they could complete it. The next morning, I changed every lock, every code, every emergency contact, every building authorization. My mother's key was marked inactive. My father removed from visitor approval. Marcus permanently banned from automatic entry. Tasha removed too. Mr. Ellis updated the building file with a note. No access without direct confirmation from Ms. Bennett. No family exceptions. I thanked him. He said, "You'd be surprised how many people need that line." I believed him. Then came the calls. My mother called first. I let it go to voicemail. Baby, I didn't sleep. I keep seeing your face. I know you were upset, but calling security on us was too much. Your brother feels humiliated. Your father is heartbroken. Please call me. No apology. Just emotional weather. My father called next. Naomi, you embarrassed your mother. Whatever your feelings, family disagreements should not involve building security. Marcus's children now think you hate them. I hope you are proud. I saved both voicemails. Marcus texted 23 times. You're cold. You humiliated my wife. You care more about an apartment than family. I hope you enjoy dying alone in your fancy box. That one made my hands shake. Grace saw my face and took the phone. Blocked. Grace, no. There is no spiritual growth in rereading abuse. She blocked him. Then Vivian sent formal notices. No access. No occupancy. No representations. No contact with building staff. No attempts to use family keys. No further pressure regarding the apartment. Any future incident would be treated as harassment and trespass. My mother called Vivian too aggressive. Vivian said, "That is what people call locked doors when they miss open ones." For 1 week, I heard nothing. Then I found out the real reason Marcus needed my apartment so badly. Not just rent, not just landlord selling, debt. Of course, there is always a deeper bill under Marcus's need. Tasha called me from a number I did not recognize. I almost hung up. Then I heard her voice. "Naomi, please don't hang up. I'm not asking for the apartment." I stayed silent. She continued, "I'm sorry." "For what specifically?" I asked. She took a shaky breath. "For entering your apartment, for measuring your study, for bringing my children's things, for letting Marcus convince me that because you lived alone, it would be less wrong, for touching your bedroom." My throat tightened. At least she named it. "Why did you come?" She started crying. Not like my mother. Not strategic. Tired. "He owes money. More than he told your parents." "How much?" "I know of 180,000. Maybe more." I closed my eyes. "Business?" "Sports betting at first. Then loans to cover it. Then he said he had an investment plan. Then the landlord selling became the excuse." My stomach turned. Sports betting. Loans. Investment plan. Apartment takeover. The pattern was clear. Do my parents know? Not all of it. "Of course," Tasha whispered. "He said if we got into your apartment, expenses would disappear for a year and he could recover." I almost laughed. Expenses would disappear. No, they would move. To me, my mortgage, my HOA fees, my taxes, my peace, my lost space, my storage room childhood, my life. I said, "Thank you for telling me. I should have told you before." "Yes, I know. What do you need?" She paused. "I don't know. Do you need help leaving him or help protecting him from consequences?" Silence. Then a small sob. "I think leaving." That answer mattered. I did not send money. I did not offer my apartment. I did not rescue Marcus through the side door of sympathy. I gave her Vivian's family law referral, a financial counselor, and information about emergency housing if needed. Clean help, structured help, help that did not make my home the price. That evening I called my parents. Not because I wanted to, because truth needed to be delivered before Marcus dressed it differently. My mother answered quickly. "Naomi, baby, put Dad on speaker." There was a pause. Then my father's voice. "We're here. Marcus owes at least $180,000 tied to betting and loans." Silence. My mother whispered, "What?" My father said, "Who told you this?" "Tasha, Marcus must not have been there, because the silence held no shouting." I continued. "He wanted my apartment because removing his rent would free money to cover debt. You helped him try to take my home without knowing the full story." My mother started crying. "I didn't know." "No, but you knew enough." My father said nothing. "You knew I had not offered the apartment. You knew the agreement was drafted before asking me. You knew you wanted me moved to your storage room. You knew children were being used to pressure me. You knew enough." My mother sobbed. "I thought I was helping." "No, you were choosing Marcus over me again." My father's voice was low. "We need time to process." I laughed softly. "You always need time to process Marcus's truth after demanding my immediate sacrifice." He inhaled sharply. I continued. "Here is my response. I am cutting off all unstructured family support." My mother stopped crying. "What does that mean?" "It means I will no longer send monthly money. I will not cover emergency debts. I will not pay bills through you. I will not help Marcus directly or indirectly. If you need medical support, I will pay providers directly. If there is a verified emergency, it goes through Vivian and Grace. Naomi, my father said. No. You used my love as a funding system. It stops now. My mother whispered, we are your parents, and I am your daughter. Not the family bank, not the backup apartment, not Marcus's recovery plan. My father's voice hardened. You will regret speaking this way. No, Dad. I regret waiting this long. I hung up. Then I turned off my phone. For the first time in years, silence felt like mine. The fallout was ugly. Relatives called. Aunties messaged. Cousins said I had gone too far. Someone told me it was just an apartment. Just an apartment. People love shrinking what they want to take. I replied to one cousin. Then give Marcus yours. She did not answer. Aunt Linda called that night. She was not really my aunt, but Grandma Ruth's closest friend and the only elder in the family circle who could cut through nonsense with a butter knife and a Bible verse. I heard you put everybody out, she said. Yes. Good. I nearly cried. She continued. Patricia called me crying. I'm sure. She said you embarrassed the family with security. What did you say? I said next time don't commit lobby-level foolishness if you fear lobby-level consequences. I laughed. Aunt Linda snorted. And your father told people you changed. I did. Good. Some changes are overdue. Her words helped me breathe. A month passed. Tasha left Marcus. Not fully at first. She took the children to her sister's home. Marcus blamed me. Of course. He unblocked himself by borrowing a cousin's phone and sent a message. You ruined my family. I replied, no, I refuse to house the consequences of your choices. Then I blocked that number too. My parents stopped calling for a while. That silence hurt. Not because I missed the pressure, because part of me still wanted them to wake up and choose me without needing a crisis first. Healing does not remove longing overnight. Sometimes you can know people are wrong and still ache for them to become right. During that time, my apartment became a place of repair. I hired a deep cleaner, rearranged the study, changed the curtains in my bedroom because I could not look at the ones Tasha measured, moved the reading chair closer to the window, bought fresh plants, placed a small sign inside my front door where only I could see it. Access is not ownership. Grace saw it and nodded. Beautiful. Needs a subtitle. No. Subtitle, especially for Marcus. No. She sighed. You deny art. My building became part of my safety. Mr. Ellis checked in kindly. The concierge team followed the access rules strictly. One afternoon, I brought pastries to the front desk. Mr. Ellis smiled. You didn't need to do that. I know. I wanted to. That difference mattered to me now. Need, want, duty, choice. I was learning to separate them. 3 months later, my mother asked to meet. I said no. Then she sent a letter. A real one. Not a voicemail. Not tears on the phone. A letter. Naomi, I am sorry. I am writing because you have asked me before to name what I did, and I want to try. I gave your key to people you did not invite. I let Marcus and Tasha enter your apartment. I helped plan for you to leave your own home. I told myself it was okay because you are one woman and he has a family. That was wrong. Your life is not smaller because it is quieter. Your apartment was not empty because you lived there alone. I treated your peace like extra space. I am ashamed. I am also sorry for using tears when I knew I was wrong. I have done that many times. I am trying to understand why I protect Marcus from consequences and expect you to absorb them. I am not asking to visit. I am not asking for money. I am sorry. Mom, I read it 3 times, then cried. Grace read it too. This is better, she said. Yes. Better does not mean safe. I know. Good. I waited 4 days before replying. I hear you. I am not ready to meet. My mother wrote back, I understand. No guilt, no but, no after all I did for you. Just understanding. That was new. My father's apology came later, much later. He requested a meeting through Vivian. That alone surprised me. Vivian arranged it in her office. Neutral ground. Grace came with me. My father arrived in a gray suit, carrying no folder. That also mattered. We sat across from each other. He looked older than I remembered. Or maybe authority looks smaller when it cannot stand in your doorway. He said, I was wrong. I waited. For what specifically? I asked. His jaw tightened slightly. He hated that question. But he answered. For helping Marcus try to take your apartment. For calling it family support when it was really moving your life aside. For telling you to watch your tone. For thinking you could adjust because you are stronger. For ignoring that strength does not mean available. My throat tightened. He continued. And for making Marcus's family look more real than yours because he has children. That one hurt so deeply I had to look away. My father's voice softened. You built a home, I did not honor it. No, I said quietly, you did not. I am sorry. I nodded. I hear you. He looked relieved. He looked relieved. I held up one hand. Hearing you does not restore keys. I know. And I will not restart the old money support. He nodded slowly. I know. That was progress. Not full healing. But progress. Marcus took the longest. For nearly a year, he refused responsibility. He moved from one relative's house to another, until even the softest aunties grew tired. He said Tasha abandoned him. He said I poisoned the family. He said my parents were weak for listening to me. Then the debts caught up. Real consequences entered the room when no sister opened an apartment door. Marcus lost his car. Took a warehouse job. Went to counseling after Tasha made it a condition for rebuilding any co-parenting trust. He hated the job. Then he got good at it. That surprised everyone, including him. 2 years after the apartment incident, he asked to meet. Not at my home. Never at my home. At a cafe near Vivian's office. Grace sat 2 tables away with sunglasses on, even though we were indoors. Marcus noticed and sighed. She's not subtle. No. Is she listening? Yes. He almost smiled. Then he looked down. I am sorry. I waited. He took a breath. For entering your apartment without permission. For bringing boxes. For letting Tasha measure rooms. For thinking because you lived alone, your home was less important. For saying you would die alone in your fancy box. My eyes burned. He continued. I said that because I knew it would hurt. Yes. I wanted you to feel small enough to give in. The honesty was ugly, but it was honesty. Why did you think my life was less real? I asked. He rubbed his hands together. Because if your life was real, then I had no excuse for trying to take from it. That answer stayed with me. Some people have to make your life small in their mind before they can steal from it without shame. I don't forgive all of it today, I said. He nodded. I know, but I hear you. Thank you. He did not ask for money, did not ask to visit, did not ask me to talk to Tasha for him. He simply sat with the consequence of being heard, but not restored. That was new. The apartment changed after that. Not physically only. Spiritually. It became more mine because I had defended it. I hosted my first dinner there 6 months after the incident. Not for family, for women from my mentorship group. Single women, divorced women, widows, women starting over. Women who had been told their homes were too nice, too empty, too large, too quiet, too selfish. We ate in the dining area with the city shining outside. One woman, Alana, said, "My sister asked if her son could move into my condo because I don't have kids." Another said, "My parents told my cousin she could stay in my guest room before asking me." Another said, My brother keeps saying my apartment is wasted because I work long hours. I listened, then told them my story. Not all the details. Enough. By the end, the room was silent. Then Alana said, "It is strange how people think a woman's peace is storage." That sentence became the beginning of a project. The Spare Key Project. Grace named it, of course. Vivian loved it. I funded it. The project helped women protect apartments, condos, spare rooms, inherited homes, and private spaces from family pressure, fake temporary stays, and emotional occupation. We taught practical steps. Never hand out spare keys casually. If you do, write down who has them. Change codes after major conflict. Do not allow relatives to receive mail at your home unless you understand tenant rights. Do not let boxes enter before agreements are clear. Do not accept just for a few weeks without a written end date. Do not leave keys with someone who thinks motherhood outranks ownership. At our first workshop, Vivian said that line so calmly women wrote it down like scripture. Motherhood does not outrank ownership. We also taught emotional boundaries. How to say no when children are mentioned. How to separate compassion from housing. How to offer structured help without surrendering keys. How to survive being called selfish. How to grieve family disappointment without reversing your decision. The most popular session was called "One Woman is a Household," because that was the lie under so many stories. The world, and sometimes family, treats a woman alone like she is incomplete. One woman is not a placeholder. One woman is not unused space. One woman is not a waiting room for relatives in crisis. One woman is a household, a home, a life, a full address. At the first session, I stood in front of 40 women and said, "My apartment was not empty. I lived there. My peace lived there. My work lived there. My recovery lived there. My dreams lived there. That was enough occupancy." Women cried. So did I. My mother eventually attended one session. She asked permission first. She sat in the back, listened, took notes. When the session ended, she came to me. "I said that to you," she whispered. "What?" "That you were one person." "Yes." I didn't know how ugly it was. I looked at her. "You knew it helped your argument." She closed her eyes. "Yes." That honesty mattered more than a cleaner apology. She later volunteered to help set up chairs for workshops. No leadership, no speeches at first. Just chairs, water, notebooks, service without control. One afternoon, I heard her telling another mother, "Do not give away a key your daughter trusted you with. If she gave you access, do not turn it into permission." I stood behind the doorway and cried quietly. People can change, sometimes, slowly, with witnesses. My father came to a later session for parents. He said little, which was wise. When asked what he learned, he said, "I learned that a daughter's home does not become family property because her brother has louder needs." The room went silent. Then someone clapped. I did not look at him because I did not want to cry in front of everyone. Marcus never came to a workshop. That boundary remained. But one day he sent a donation. $950. I knew the number. 950. For the apartment. The note said, "For one lock I had no right to open." I stared at it for a long time. Grace asked, "Do you want to accept it?" "Yes." "Are you sure?" "It doesn't buy access." "No." "It doesn't erase anything." "No." "But it names something." Grace nodded. "Then accept it." We used that money to pay for lock changes for 3 women leaving family pressure situations. That felt right. Years later, I still lived in the apartment. People asked why I never sold it after what happened. I understood the question. For a while, I considered it. Every corner held a memory. The boxes, the folder, the open bedroom door, the key in my mother's hand. But then I realized something. Leaving would not be wrong, but staying could be healing. So I stayed because I wanted to, not because I was trapped. I repainted the study, replaced the couch, changed the bedroom curtains, turned the second bedroom into a guest room only for invited guests. On the inside of the front door, I placed a small brass plaque. Invitation only. Grace wanted it to say, "Marcus, this means you." I said no. She said I lacked comedy courage. Maybe. On the 5th anniversary of the apartment incident, the Spare Key Project held a dinner in my building's event room. Women came with stories. Some had changed locks. Some had refused relatives. Some had allowed family to stay with written terms and healthy boundaries. Some had helped siblings in ways that did not destroy themselves. That mattered. The message was not never help. The message was never disappear. Tasha attended that dinner. She and Marcus were divorced by then, but co-parenting better. She pulled me aside afterward. "Your no saved me too," she said. I looked at her. "How?" "If you had let us move in, I would have stayed longer. I would have told myself stability was worth the humiliation. When you refused, I had to see the truth faster." I hugged her, not because everything was erased, because sometimes accountability leaves room for grace. My parents came to the dinner too. My mother did not cry dramatically. My father did not give speeches. They sat quietly, applauded other women, and left when the event ended. No request, no pressure. Progress can be quiet. At the end of the dinner, I stood and told the full story. The lobby, the key, the boxes, the agreement, the bedroom, the security guard, the phone call to Vivian, the cutting off, the project. When I finished, I held up a key, not my apartment key, a symbolic one. I said a key is not just metal, it is trust. When someone gives you a key, they are not giving you ownership, they are giving you responsibility. If you misuse access, you lose both. The room stood. Applause filled the space. I looked toward my mother. She was crying quietly. This time, the tears were not tools. They were memory. My family demanded I give my $950,000 apartment to my brother. My response shocked them. People love the dramatic part. The key in my mother's hand. Tasha measuring curtains. Marcus's boxes. The contract on my dining table. The open bedroom door. The lawyer on speaker. Security at the door. The support cut off. The apartment reclaimed. I understand. It is dramatic. But the deeper story is about what people think a woman alone deserves. They think your spare room is spare life. They think your quiet is emptiness. They think your success is family overflow. They think your peace is negotiable, because no one else is standing beside you claiming it. They are wrong. Your apartment is not less of a home because you live there alone. Your bedroom is not available because your brother has children. Your study is not a temporary nursery because someone failed to plan. Your balcony is not family overflow. Your couch is not crisis housing unless you choose it. Your key is not a community resource. And your no is not cruelty. If your family needs help, you can help. You can offer money through clear channels. You can give referrals. You can support children. You can sit with someone in pain. You can help find rentals. You can pray. You can love. But help that requires your disappearance is not help. It is replacement. Do not let anyone replace you inside your own life. If someone has your spare key and begins acting like they own the door, change the lock. If someone says, "You are only one person," answer, "One person is enough." If someone says, "But he has children," answer, "Then he must become responsible for them." If someone says, "Family should share," answer, "Family should ask." If someone brings papers into your living room, call Vivian. If someone brings boxes before consent, call security. And when they act shocked by your response, let them be shocked. Sometimes shock is what entitlement feels when it meets a locked door. Today, my apartment still sits on the 27th floor. The city still shines through the windows. My reading chair is back in its place. My bedroom door closes softly. My study belongs to my work. The second bedroom waits only for invited guests. My mother no longer has a key. My father calls before visiting. Marcus has never entered again. And inside the entryway, below the brass plaque, I keep one small framed sentence from Grandma Ruth. Do not confuse open hands with open doors. My name is Naomi Bennett. My family demanded I give my apartment to my brother. I said no. Called my lawyer, removed them, changed the locks, cut off the money, built the Spare Key Project, and learned that the most shocking response a woman can give to people who feel entitled to her life is this: my home is not available.